drugging, raping her, and even when she was gone, you continued to violate her by using cleaning products that were so strong they literally removed the pigment from her skin.
In prison, child sex offenders sit at the bottom of the hierarchy. They face constant harassment, brutal beatings, and often worse. Survival in prison for these individuals is not just difficult, it's nearly impossible without protective custody or isolation. On October 22, 2024, 2 pedophiles were found dead in their cells at Elmira Correctional Facility in New York. The medical examiner's office has yet to announce the cause of death. One of them was 34-year-old Robert Fisher, who had served only 1 month in prison. He was convicted of drugging, raping, and murdering a 3-year-old girl. Who was this monster? Why did everyone believe he deserved this death? Stay tuned to find out. Before diving in, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Josephina Cunningham, lovingly called Josie by those who knew her, was a bright and imaginative child. At daycare, she loved pretending to be a teacher, carefully lining up her baby dolls, reading to them, and nurturing them with a tenderness beyond her years. Josie was a girly girl, always wearing her signature pink scarf adorned with red hearts, and carried a matching pink purse. Every day she would proudly ask her teachers, "Do you like my dress today?" Her big brother, Jaquan Stewart, shared that, "From the moment my little sister entered this world, I knew she was extraordinary. She carried an otherworldly fragrance, and her presence was like a beacon of light." Josephina dreamed of becoming a firefighter. The song that reminds me of her is Aretha Franklin's "Walk in the Light." I felt Josie was the only one who understood me. Her presence was everything and so powerful. Every time she hugged me, it was like power rushing through my body. I believed she was destined for greatness. In 2023, a neighbor introduced Josie's mother, LaQuesha, to Robert Fisher, and the two quickly fell in love. In July, Fisher began staying overnight at LaQuesha's apartment. He seemed like a responsible man, and LaQuesha thought he would be a good father. On the night of July 6, 2023, LaQuesha left Josie in Fisher's care for the first time while she ran errands at Walmart. Upon returning, she took her medication and fell asleep, unaware of the horror that was about to unfold. The next morning, she woke up to a nightmare. Josie was lying there, foaming at her mouth, blood staining her bed. The pungent smell of bleach filled the air. Panicked, LaQuesha dialed 911. Officers rushed to 1552 Broadway and found Josie unresponsive. She was lying on her back in bed, her tiny hands folded neatly across her torso, as if she had been staged. But deep bruises on her hips, inner thighs, and buttocks told a different story. More disturbingly, her delicate skin had been scrubbed raw with bleach, a chilling sight that left investigators shaken. She was rushed to Albany Medical Center, but it was too late. Josie was gone. Her aunt made a devastating call to Josie's brother, Jaquan Stewart, who was on his way to work. The news hit him like a wave. Shock, disbelief, and heartbreak all at once. Stewart recalled, "When I arrived, I saw yellow tape and my cousin, who was bent over in grief at the side of the house. I asked my mother where her boyfriend Robert Fisher was, and she told me that the police had taken him to the station for questioning." As the investigation continued, it quickly became clear that Josie's death was no accident. When police arrived at the scene, Fisher's behavior raised immediate red flags. He tried to get back inside the apartment, saying he needed cigarettes, and even attempted to shut the door, blocking police from entering Josie's room. Eventually, he was thrown on the ground and handcuffed for trying to interfere with the investigation. Despite Fisher's efforts to make Josie's passing appear peaceful, the reality was far from it. The impact of her case was immediate and profound, shaking everyone involved and uncovering the truth of that horrific night. Assistant District Attorney Antonia Edwards, who led the prosecution, called it one of the toughest cases of her career. The tragedy was especially difficult for first responders and law enforcement officers, many of whom had young children of their own. The loss of such an innocent life weighed heavily on them. As one investigator put it, "It's not something any of us were prepared for. This was beyond horrific, beyond what any normal case should be.
Age of the victim alone is difficult. You know, a lot of the fire guys, a lot of the police people have young children at home. So that alone is difficult. And then, you know, it's up to, you know, somebody lost their life.
I can speak for myself and probably everyone behind me. This has been absolutely heinous and horrific, something that the normal investigator, the normal prosecutor doesn't anticipate. So it's been very hard for everyone. The innocence of the child, the brutality of the act.
On that same day, July 7, 2023, Robert Fisher was arrested and in police custody under protective care. Initially, he pleaded not guilty, sparking outrage throughout the community. Josie's family, particularly her brother Stuart, struggled with Fisher's denial. He found it nearly impossible to process the horror and cope with his family's collective grief.
Robert Fisher stood in front of Judge Deborah Young this morning in Rensselaer County Court. He pleaded not guilty to rape and murder charges. There was a sizable presence of police, fire, and EMS in memory of the 3-year-old victim.
Despite Robert Fisher's desperate attempts to erase all evidence, District Attorney Mary Pat Donnelly confirmed that police had found more than enough to tie him to the crime, including his DNA. Among the chilling discoveries were Fisher's underwear, Josie's baby shark-themed bed sheets, and numerous blood-stained towels, all painting a gruesome picture of what happened that night. Robert Fisher was ultimately denied bail due to his lengthy criminal history, which included a violent felony conviction, multiple misdemeanors, probation violations, and a record of failing to appear in court. Following his arraignment, Fisher was sent to jail, and emotions ran high outside the courtroom, with shouting and even fighting.
After the arraignment, there was some shouting and fighting outside the courtroom.
However, amidst the chaos, Josie's family wanted to shift the focus back to the innocent victim, 3-year-old Josie. Her mother tearfully described her as a little angel taken from us too soon. Over the next year, Fisher's case slowly made its way through the courts. Initially, he insisted on his innocence, delaying justice and prolonging the family's anguish with every court appearance. Assistant District Attorney Antonia Edwards noted that plea negotiations are common in violent cases, but the sheer brutality of this crime made it particularly difficult to navigate. On July 9, 2024, the heartbreaking case of Josephina Cunningham reached a turning point. In a courtroom filled with grief-stricken family and supporters, 34-year-old Robert Fisher pleaded guilty to the unimaginable crime that took Josie's life. Assistant District Attorney Edwards, visibly emotional as she recounted the details.
Hours before her murder, she was seen on video footage at her daycare, running around on the playground, smiling and laughing with her peers, doing what children should be doing. This is how her family, friends, and the community should remember Josie, a carefree, happy child. The heinous acts of the defendant took Josie away from this world and the community. And the community also deserves to know what horrible and vile acts that the defendant committed, and the horror that Josie met when she came home from daycare on July 6th of 2023 into July 7th of 2023. He immediately revealed himself to be a predator. Within days of meeting Josie, he preyed on her and caused her death. On July 6th of 2023, in the evening hours, Lakeisha went to Walmart and left the defendant alone to watch Josie. And this is the first time that Josie had ever been alone in the defendant's care. After Lakeisha returned from Walmart, she took some of her medication and she told the police that she fell asleep. And she also told the police that Josie was sleeping. It was then sometime during the evening hours of July 6th of 2023 into the early morning hours of July 7th of 2023 that the defendant took the medication prescribed to Lakeisha, crushed it up, and put it in a cup for Josie to drink. He went into her bedroom and he beat her. He did all of this while she was alive and awake. And we know that not only from the autopsy results, but we know that from the defendant's own words in his plea allocution. He did this to her while she was alive and awake. And these actions occurred. Her body went through such a traumatic response. Her body shut down because it could not sustain the trauma of the
According to Assistant District Attorney Edwards, sometime during the night of July 6, 2023, into the early hours of July 7th, Fisher crushed Lakeisha's prescription medication and mixed it into a drink for Josie. Then he entered her bedroom and carried out his brutal actions while she was awake and aware. Josie's small body could not endure the trauma, and she succumbed to it. In a desperate attempt to hide his crime, Fisher scrubbed her body with Clorox wipes, even scrubbed her private parts. He was so forceful that her natural pigment was stripped away. The official cause of Josie's death was determined to be homicidal violence during a sexual assault, with acute hemorrhage, lacerations, and intoxication from drugs. Edwards shared that while avoiding a full trial was a difficult decision, it ultimately spared Josie's family from reliving the trauma, while ensuring that Fisher's actions were permanently recorded in court documents. This was a baby, she emphasized, struggling to hold back her emotions. She was a baby, and what this man did to her is beyond what anyone should ever have to think about. On September 10, 2024, the courtroom fell silent as Judge Deborah Young prepared to deliver Robert Fisher's sentence. Throughout the proceedings, Fisher kept his head down, refusing to meet the tear-filled gazes of Josie's grieving family. Judge Young condemned him as a dangerous threat to society and expressed her hope that any future parole board would carefully review the case and deny him release.
Heinous and depraved actions caused unimaginable pain and suffering to an innocent and defenseless child. Your actions were not only reprehensible, they were also betrayal of the trust that society places on individuals to protect and care for our most vulnerable members. Josie's own mother trusted you to care for her, and you betrayed that trust. And even when she was gone, you continued to blame her by using cleaning products that were so strong they literally removed the pigment from her skin in an attempt to destroy the evidence of what you had done to her. You are a threat to society, and you show no remorse for what you did to Josie. It is my duty to impose a sentence that reflects the seriousness of your actions and protects society from the harm that you have demonstrated yourself capable of inflicting. I want to emphasize that this agreed-upon sentence was only acceptable to the court because it spared the family and the first responders and the community the additional trauma and uncertainty that comes with a trial.
Judge Young made a powerful plea to future parole boards, urging them to carefully consider Fisher's crimes before ever contemplating his release.
I would also urge anyone who may possibly think of someday approving your release back into society to read your file, read the minutes of this sentencing, read the pre-sentence investigation report, and most importantly, to look at the photos of Josie before returning you to live in society, because it is clear to this court that you will never be fit to live in the community ever again.
The court then pronounced Fisher's official sentence. For the murder in the second degree, a Class A felony, he was sentenced to an indeterminate term of 20 years to life in state prison. For the first-degree rape, a Class B violent felony, he received a determinate sentence of 20 years, followed by 20 years of post-release supervision. Both sentences would be served concurrently. In a final statement to the media, the district attorney explained why the plea deal was necessary.
We felt the plea was necessary because we needed to know what happened. And in order to have Mr. Fisher allocute, we offered him 20 to life.
Though justice had been served in the eyes of the court, the pain of Josie's loss would forever remain with those who loved her. Josie's brother, Jaquan Stewart, expressed his belief that the case deserved the death penalty. He voiced frustration that people who are innocent suffer, while those guilty of such heinous crimes often avoid the harshest punishments. He admitted his disappointment that the case had not gone to trial, believing it might have revealed even more about his sister's final moments. In an interview, Stewart said, "I was shocked and learned a great deal from that experience. Life is fleeting, and death can come at any time. I knew I needed to take action, just like Mamie Till did when she decided to have an open casket funeral for her son Emmett Till. I believe my sister's story can cause a great awakening and bring the country to its knees in prayer." Back in the day, America was a different place. It had values and put children first. Children are the greatest in the kingdom of God. Josie's death was unexpected. We are coping as a family. My relationship with my mother is still the same. Yesterday is yesterday, and I know that broken things can be blessed things. I miss sweet Josie terribly, but I believe that our family needs restoration, and that restoration is only possible through God. After the trial is finished, I plan working to restore the death penalty in New York State. I will not rest until I have achieved justice for Josie. This is just the beginning. Seeking solace, Stewart began working on a documentary and authored a book about Josie's story. His goal is to raise awareness about crimes against children and advocate for stricter penalties, including the introduction of Josie's Act, which would allow families to seek the death penalty for the most egregious crimes. Rensselaer Police Chief Warren Famigletti said, "Seeing the pictures of Josie's face after what the defendant did to her was mortifying. Those images will be ingrained into the minds forever for those who saw them. It is my sincere hope that Robert Fisher never gets the opportunity to take a peaceful breath on this earth." 1 month after Robert Fisher was sent to Elmira Correctional Facility, on October 24, 2024, the Cunningham family faced another unexpected twist. At 1:50 a.m., Fisher was found dead in his cell. His death shocked many, including Rensselaer Police Chief Warren Famigletti. He posted on Facebook, "On behalf of the Rensselaer Police Department, I would like to announce the death of admitted child murderer, rapist, and predator, Robert Fisher. I already see comments online expressing joy and relief from the news of his death. Being careful not to express my personal beliefs on a professional platform, I will say that I would find it impossible to compose a rational, articulate argument in opposition of those expressing relief. It appears that justice was ultimately served by a power much greater." The details of Fisher's death remain undisclosed, pending an investigation by the county medical examiner. For Josie's family, Fisher's death brought mixed emotions: relief that he was gone, but a deep sadness knowing that nothing could bring Josie back. Josie's brother Stewart shared that his mother felt shocked yet relieved, and many in the community were glad Fisher was no longer alive. However, he himself had hoped Fisher would serve his full sentence and live with the consequences of his actions.
My mom was very shocked that she's relieved. You know, she's dead. She's happy that she's dead. A lot of people are happy that he's dead. I was very shocked because I really wanted a penalty, and I was hoping he can serve his life sentence 20 years.
Stewart added, "I still plan on keeping Josephina's memory alive. Instead of trying to reinstate the New York State death penalty, I'm going to try to get it as a federal law in all 50 states." The police department acknowledged that they were not surprised by Fisher's fate. Chief Warren noted that given the nature of Fisher's crimes, his time in prison was unlikely to be easy. News of Fisher's passing spread quickly through the community, with many expressing a sense of closure and relief on social media. Despite the tragic loss, Josie's family remains dedicated to honoring her memory. Through their advocacy and continued efforts, her story serves as a powerful call for change and protection for children everywhere. May her family and friends find comfort in their cherished memories, and may Josie rest in eternal peace. And that wraps up today's video. What are your thoughts? Do you think Robert Fisher's 20-year sentence was fair, or did he deserve more? Who do you think was behind his death? Could there be a deeper connection between the two pedophiles who died in the same prison on the same day within an hour of each other? Drop your thoughts and conspiracy theories in the comments below. If there's a case you'd like us to cover, let us know. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.